Yo, good morning, Love Wrestling. It is Tuesday, what is it, 13th? 14th, Tuesday, January 14th. It is 10 a.m. And this is another edition of Firmly WWE right here on Love Wrestling as part of the Firmly Love Wrestling brand. We got Sandy in the chat already. He was sending messages a half hour before we started, man. This guy's ready. He's saying good evening from Germany. We're going to be talking about this fella, but he has given his opinion on that debut last night. But first and foremost, Drew, how are we doing this fine Tuesday, man?
We are doing very well. I am excited to talk about some things, and I feel like we're getting into Rumble season. That's always a great time. Rumble to Mania is... Rumble to Mania last year is what got me back doing a show like Firmly WWE, because I was not that invested in WWE at this time last year. So, yeah, this was going to be fun. Now, I've not gotten that shirt yet, by the way.
Fair. For everybody that is already in the chat, that is going to be coming into the chat, you know how me and Drew normally do our stuff. We're usually here for close to, if not a little bit over 2 hours chatting up. Today is going to be a shorter, condensed episode. I have some appointments that I could not change the times on. So we're only going to be here till about 11 or shortly after 11. So you get us for, so far, Lawrence, we're going to talk about that right at the top here, because this, at least on the men's side, we got some heavy hitters that have declared for that Royal Rumble so far. Not a lot of guys yet, 5 or 6, but they are top of the top. So we are going to talk about that, Lawrence. But yes, so we're probably going to be going to like 11:15 max. So a little shorter of an episode today than normal, but we'll be back to our normal length and normal time on Thursday and moving forward. I just had some stuff I could not move that I got to deal with after.
This is not the only show. This is pretty much this week and next week and the following week are all going to be different types of shows.
Yeah, we're going to have to figure some stuff out because Drew and I have real life things happening. Unfortunately, on show days.
The other two are related to Firmly. Well, actually, no, that's not true, because next week we have to record Firmly WWE.
Why?
And
we're recording
next Tuesday morning. I am not going to be home at this time.
Oh my god! I thought it was just one. I didn't know we were doing a flow. Oh my god! We'll talk about it after. I don't want to get frustrated. All right, let's. So we're going to dive in. Obviously, there is some stuff on SmackDown that happened that I do want to discuss at some point, but obviously, last night's Raw is fresh on the brain. And it's something that we're going to dive in. I thought it was a very good episode of Raw. For me, Drew, and I said it last week, I felt like last night's episode was the first real Raw on Netflix. Because obviously the debut happened last week, but that wasn't a real episode of Monday Night Raw. That was a anniversary debut. One of those. This was a real episode of Monday Night Raw. This was a real episode of Raw, and I thought it was a good one. Sandy, yep, they did show Obafemi, the NXT champ, the new NXT champ, in the crowd. He got a good ovation too. So yeah, that guy is a star. Obviously, we're gonna dive into the
Mick Wrestler.
Oh yeah, Mick Wrestler saying what's up. Hello, welcome in, friend. We're gonna dive into some WWE talk here. So before we get into we're not going to really go chronologically today. We're going to talk about the big stuff. However, the first two things we're going to talk about are kind of chronological. So let's start that way. So Raw opened up last night with CM Punk making his way to the ring. Before he dove into his regular CM Punk stuff, I did think it was very nice that he took a moment to acknowledge the firefighters and first responders. They were in San Jose, so they weren't in LA, but they were in California. I don't even know how far that is away, but so I thought it was very nice of Punk to acknowledge the firefighters, first responders, and kind of everybody that's been helping with everything that's going on in Los Angeles as it continues to be just a horrifying and scary situation. We hope everybody is as safe as they can be and things are continuing to improve out in Los Angeles. So I thought that was a nice little moment. And then he starts talking about, he goes into the old rigmarole. It feels good to be wherever we are on a Monday night. Stop doing it, CM Punk. That is not you. Cena's back. Let him do that shit. Anyway, I digress. So he runs into that stuff, but then Drew, he starts making some John Cena references. He did a little of this. When he said a line, he looked in the camera and he said, John, you can't see me. He goes, well, I've always seen you, John. I've always seen you, which I thought was a nice little thing of respect from Punk a little bit. Even though we know they've feuded forever, it's one of his great rivals. I thought that was a good little thing of respect for him to be like, yeah, John, I see you, and I've kind of always seen you, man. I've always seen you. I think that would be a good one-on-one match to run it back. Honestly, Sandy, if Cena and Punk was like like one of the singles matches at Money in the Bank, that'd be fantastic because it would run it back to their that's Punk's most famous match in WWE still. It easily is that Money in the Bank. It's one I've seen it like. I think that would be very cool. But anyway, CM Punk goes in. He's talking about winning the Royal Rumble. And he talks about John Cena. He says last week John was out here and he declared that he was going for the Royal Rumble and for his chance to get the title at Mania. And he says, I'm declaring myself for the Royal Rumble. And I love the way that they did this because Punk was like riling up the crowd and getting excited. And he's like, and at the end of the Royal Rumble, you're going to hear my music hit, Cult of Personality, hit my music. And he's like, the crowd is pumped and Punk's yelling and he goes, hit my music. And we hear burn it down. And Punk's reaction is just, he's like, he doesn't have the mic near him, but you can tell he lets out a big F-bomb. And he's like, looking like, wow, like that. And then so as Rollins is coming to the ring, they show Punk and he's like leaning on the second rope and he has the mic and he's like, why couldn't it be Rhea Ripley? Why couldn't Rhea Ripley interrupt me? It's got to be this guy. Why couldn't it be Rhea Ripley? Which I thought was very funny. So Rollins comes down. He stares Punk down. He takes off his sunglasses. He's got a shiner. Which
the crowd popped for, by the way. So it was interesting.
I still want Seth to kind of, I want some of this, and we'll talk about it because Rollins had a good segment backstage with Sami Zayn later on. I kind of want Rollins to lean heel here. I feel like he should get a little tweak in character. But CM Punk points out that he won last week, and I thought Seth had a good line where he said, I'd rather be the worst version of myself than any version of you. I thought that was really
good one.
Yep. And he, Rollins says, I've lost a lot of matches, big matches, main event, title matches. I've lost at WrestleMania. But he says, last week was the worst loss of my career. He said, I'm disappointed I couldn't get it done on the biggest stage I've ever had. And he goes, and my only redemption is to flush your WrestleMania dream down the toilet. So Seth Rollins then declares for the Royal Rumble. Now, then Punk starts saying some stuff, and then we hear Drew McIntyre's music hit. And Drew McIntyre comes out. He gets on the mic. He stays near the top of the stage. He says, hey, I've beaten both of you. He's like, I've beaten both. Like Punk. Well, Punk is really the one that was like, I've beaten both your asses. So I'm just going to sit back. Like, I don't really care what either of you have to say because I beat you both. And Drew's really trying to talk to Seth.
Yeah, I really liked this a lot because it shows like the natural character traits of all three of these men, this promo.
Yeah.
Punk is yapping in the corner at Drew, and Drew shoot names him. He's like, "Hey, Phil, contrary to belief, this ain't all about you.
Yeah, not everything revolves around you, buddy.
I'm not even talking to you right now."
Yeah.
And this was like really good because Punk thinks everything's about him. And then Seth and Punk, like Drew, the thing about Drew's character right now is that, and I think this plays into the next thing that we're going to talk about, he's a truth teller right now. And
there's a whole lot of truth tellers right now in the WWE. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Karrion Kross, truth teller. Drew McIntyre, truth teller. Seth Rollins, truth teller. Kevin Owens, truth teller.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of characters, all heels, by the way. Well, no, Seth isn't a heel, but the majority of them are heels, by the way. But I feel like WWE has a good handful of those characters now that are that. You know what I mean? They don't say what people want to hear, which makes them get booed and stuff, but they're not exactly lying. They're not exactly lying. And so these three are kind of going back and forth. Drew McIntyre then declares himself for the Royal Rumble.
I like how you had to add McIntyre there, because
Yeah, you know. I don't know. You could declare. I mean, it's open. Right?
Hey, I'll be in the Royal
There are
Rumble.
open slots. There are open slots. Spencer in the chat saying good morning. Good morning, man. If that is Spencer or Zach, I'm assuming it's Spencer, but you know what happens when one assumes. So then I liked Punk here. Punk goes, you know what? You two can keep on talking. He goes, but I'm going to stand over here. He goes, if any of you wants to swing or take a shot, like, I'll be ready. Let's go. And he puts down the mic and Punk gets in like fighting position in the corner. And then Rollins is like, all right. And Rollins takes off. They're in the ring. Rollins takes off his jacket. The crowd's getting louder and louder. And then they look down at Drew and Drew's like, you want to go? Okay. And he starts walking. And I don't know how your reaction was, but I was ready. I was like, let's go. Give me a triple threat main event tonight on Raw out of nowhere. Like, give me this triple threat. But Drew does the heel thing where he walks down and he just yells, no.
Why would I do that?
Exactly.
Why would I do that? I loved it so much.
Yeah. And then Drew says, if only there was a way that I could get my hands on both of you. Oh, there is. I'm declaring for the Royal Rumble. And that's how the segment ends. Not with a brawl. No brawl whatsoever. It just ends kind of like that. I thought a very good opening thing. So that means right now we have 5 names that have declared for the Royal Rumble. And they are Roman Reigns, John Cena, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Drew McIntyre. That's a pretty good 5.
Yeah.
That's a pretty damn good 5. Any one of those 5 guys can win that Royal Rumble. Any one of them. Any one of them. That is a...
Did you say Roman Reigns?
I did say Roman. He was the first one.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yes. Roman, Cena, Rollins, Punk, and McIntyre are the 5 that have been announced on TV as of right now. And that is a star-studded 5. I would think that any one of those 5 guys could win the Royal Rumble and nobody would bat an eye. Nobody would bat an eye. Really good opening segment. And then that led into the segment that really everybody was talking about, as everybody should be talking about, because goddamn Penta. My God, Drew. What a debut. What a debut. All the way around. I thought, I don't know if it was Def Rebel that did that song, but whoever they did that song, I thought they actually nailed one. For once, I thought it actually fit Penta and the character. I thought the entrance was cool. The crowd reaction to him was incredible. He looked exactly like I thought he would look, like Penta, which is just utter badass. And let me tell you, they gave him the perfect dance partner last night because Chad Gable was the perfect opponent for Penta. You have never, that was your first time seeing Penta wrestle, Sandy. Oh, well, you're
in for a treat.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was good. Like Gable is terrific. So that's a great opponent to have for your first opponent. You're going to be able, that's a good dance partner. But Penta is legit. And he looked slimmer. He looked a little trimmer and slimmer since the last time we saw him in AEW. He looked amazing, Drew. He looked amazing. and his family was in the
Yeah.
crowd. His little daughter was crying every time they showed her. That was emotional. The match was excellent. Penta favoring his knee and Gable working on the knee, but the match was excellent. That they called it a Mexican destroyer, but that destroyer that he gave to Chad Gable looked like he literally landed, like the way Chad Gable sold that, it looked like he literally landed directly on the, and it's like he let his body like kind of go limp.
It was
the way
incredible.
he sold that was like when, and I've seen a million destroyers, but that one, it was like the whole place, including the announcers and me and Peggy on my watch, we all were like, "Oh my God, that looked incredible."
Yeah.
This was so
You're
good,
right
Drew.
in saying that Gable was the perfect person to be his debut match, 100%.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And I was really good, and I liked how they gave Gable a lot of offense. Like this was very much a back and forth match here. It wasn't just, making Penta look like they did make Penta look good, obviously, but this was very much a competitive back and forth match where I would have to look that up, but he's not super young. He's not super young. He's been doing this for a long time.
I believe he's like
late 30s, early 40s,
38 to 42.
Yeah, I was going to say late 30s, early 40s, somewhere around there. He's been doing it for a long time. But I really, really enjoyed this match. It was back and forth, but at the end, and I loved how
39.
they gave 39.
Yeah.
Wow, what an age. Good age. Born in 1985, the best year.
Right.
So
February 5th is his birthday. Is coming up.
Wow. All right. So he's going to be 40 right here in a couple weeks. Hell yeah. I loved how they didn't take any moves away from his moveset. They let him break Gable's arm on the arm breaker thing there, which I loved. And that went right into that beautiful Penta driver for the 1-2-3. And Penta gets the win in his debut, as you would expect. But a really good back and forth match with him and Gable. 2-segment match. They gave it a commercial. Really, really good. And you know what else was really, really good? Was the fact that they gave Penta time afterwards to talk on the microphone, and the fact that they let him talk majority in Spanish. They let him talk, and the crowd was eating that shit up. Yeah,
this was so great.
It was terrific. And can I just say something? I tweeted about it. So I really had only seen Penta wrestle regularly since he had been on AEW television, right? And now he's over in WWE. This is his first match. I had never seen Penta smile before, ever. I don't think I've ever seen him smile. And
Really?
last night, I'd never seen him smile. Like actually the character smile. Because last night before that match started, during his entrance, he couldn't stop smiling. He looked like he was happy. He was free. That whole character in the Lucha Bros and AEW, which was amazing, one of the best tag teams in that company, period. I don't even think I saw him smile ever. I really don't. Like under the mask, I don't think I ever saw. He had grin to grin smiles before this match was started. He almost felt like he was like, I don't even care about the character. I don't even care. I'm happy as a pig in shit. So I'm just going to be smiling this whole first fucking 5 minutes. And that's what he was doing. Dan saying showing the emotions his family had was excellent. Yeah. Whole family, that his daughter crying the whole time, that was just emotional. It was great. Sandy, it's going to be a while. I don't think it's going to be till later on this year, sadly. But yeah, I mean, look, Penta's going to do mighty fine on his own too. But Ray Phoenix might even be better than Penta as an all-around performer. That's how good Ray Phoenix is. Yeah. And them together as the Lucha, that's an all-time tag team. But I thought last night was as good a debut as I've seen. After the match, he thanked San Jose. He said WWE was his new home. He called out, he started talking Spanish, and he called out his Mexican fans, his Latin American fans. He said, thank you for joining me on this long ride to get here to WWE. And then he pointed at his family. He thanked them. He said he loved them. And then he kind of shifted back to English. And he said, this is a new era, right? This is a new WWE era. This is a Netflix era. Well, this is also a new Penta era. And the crowd fucking lost their mind. The crowd was 100% behind this guy wholeheartedly, immediately, Drew. Immediately. Very awesome.
Sure.
That was a tremendous debut.
Everything of his should have sold. Every merch of his should have sold out already, because he is a moneymaker.
100%.
100%.
I'm
really happy for him.
Yeah, I am too. I am too. And I loved going on social media, because especially in general, but especially in the wrestling space, there are very few things that happen where everybody is kind of on the same page. And I think last night, 99.9% of all the wrestling that I saw on social media was talking about how happy they were for Penta, how happy they were for him. And that's the way it should be. And he looked like he was happy. He looked like he was happy.
Oh, yeah. Very much.
He taught that one promo, Drew.
He said he was waiting for this for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. That one promo, Drew, last night, I think he talked more in that one promo than he did at least in the last year he was with AEW. Like, they let him talk for almost 10 minutes. Like, they let him talk for a while. And he didn't really get, he always had a man, like, he didn't really get that. He had Abrahantis with them. Like, he didn't really get standalone promo time. And I thought he proved last night that, yeah, he can do that too. I thought it was very, very good. It was very, very good. Yeah, Dan Brown, I like that too. How at the beginning Cole was like, "It was the worst kept secret in the business."
No,
I like how he did that. I love the lucha.
Although really, it started with Penta, the worst kept secret.
Yeah, so I like that.
Last year,
I loved how they mentioned Lucha Underground. They gave a Lucha Underground reference. They talked about Lucha Underground, which was nice. Did not expect that. But that was really good. I mean, when you look at their roster, dude, Asuka was in Lucha Underground. Io Sky was in Lucha Underground. Rey Mysterio went up.
Lucha Underground?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
So like Io Sky and Penta have like a legendary match in Lucha Underground. They fought each other, Penta and Io. So, you know, when you look at that now, like Swerve obviously was in there as well. Ricochet was obviously in there as well. Like Lucha Underground, even though I didn't watch it regularly all the way through, like all of a sudden you look at that roster and where everybody on that roster, or where a lot of people on that roster are now, and you're like, hot damn, dude. Lucha Underground had all these top of the card stars everywhere.
So Dan's comment there, the only way the secret could have been kept worse is if McAfee was wearing a Penta mask.
McAfee had no idea who he was.
Well, that too. But here's the thing, and you were talking about the positive side of Twitter. There was the negative side that was like, oh, how could they put out the merchandise? Like, so earlier yesterday, I think it was around noon, WWE shop tweeted, hey, new Penta merch, masks and shirts, which all look great, by the way.
100%.
And people were all like, oh, why did they say this? Why did they put this out early? And all this stuff. I'm like, did people not watch last week? His name was literally on screen.
Yeah, like they showed his name.
There is no hiding this anymore.
Yeah, like last week, they had been hiding it previous, but last week, he showed his name. So, A, it wasn't a secret. And B, I also think WWE did it to capitalize on some negative stuff that's going on the other side that we'll talk about on Thursday. Agreed. We'll talk about it on Thursday. We don't got to talk about it now. I'm sure we'll go into it in detail. I don't even want to talk about it
on Thursday.
Yeah,
but
I know, but I'm sure we will go into it in detail on Thursday. But I thought that, you know, people losing that, I thought that was a smart move by WWE. Everybody knows it's him. Everybody knows it's him versus Gable tonight. Everybody. Sorry. Like, unless you didn't know who he was, which you might not have, but even Sandy, this was the first time you saw him. So you don't really know much about Penta. You knew it was Penta that was fighting Gable before he showed up. Everybody knew. So at that point, who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Like, put out your merch, sell. You know how many masks they're going to sell, bro? Do you know how many of those masks they're going to sell?
They've probably sold hundreds already.
Every Raw from here on out, there are going to be dozens and dozens of people in the crowd, maybe more, just wearing those masks. That's it, man. That hoodie that they have, I wish it wasn't in white. I wish they had a black version of it. No, it's like a white hoodie, which I don't mind it, but the white is hard sometimes. But that Penta hoodie they released looks badass, but it's white. Like all the merch looks good.
I didn't even see a hoodie. I just saw a shirt. So that's
Yeah.
that must be new.
Yeah. And then, you know, obviously us Americans, we get regular commercials. But the people that didn't get commercials, in one of the commercials, Rey Mysterio was cutting a promo in front of the live crowd, and he put over Penta, and he started talking about Penta. And he said, I've known Penta for so long and all that stuff. I still think that's where we end up. But after last night, I mean, you got to ride this guy as a babyface, do you not? You have to. You're going to turn him heel on right away? You can't. I thought he would turn heel and like fight Ray as a heel, but now I'm like, no, dude. You got to just ride this guy as a baby. Like, that crowd was so enamored with him, as they should be. All right. Some of the
awesome. Wow.
Yeah, right? It's only white though, right? They only offer it in white.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish they offered it in different colors. But that hoodie looks dope. Sandy, I project that Penta will be one of the top merch movers almost immediately. His look is unlike anything ever. Like, it's just such a cool look. So that's the next big thing we're going to talk about. So we'll skim through some stuff. Ludwig Kaiser and Sheamus had a good match, which Sheamus won. And they had a confrontation. He then had a confrontation with Braun Breaker, and we found out that at Saturday night's main event. Yes.
So yeah, that's going to be a Saturday night's main event. That's cool.
Yes.
I was just confused as to why 2 weeks in a row the IC champion is sitting in the crowd instead of.
Yeah.
You know.
Was he in the crowd last week too?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I didn't even think he was featured at all. I was like, I would like to see Braun. I know he wasn't factored into the planning of the Raw debut last week, but I feel like we haven't seen Braun wrestle in like a month. I feel like it's been like
last title match.
Yeah. So like, I feel like we should probably see that guy wrestle more often. But again, him and Sheamus for the IC title, I'm not complaining about it.
No, not at
all. But that's going to be a Saturday night's main event match. And then there was this other Seth Rollins thing that I want to talk about before we get to the women's IC title thing. So Seth Rollins is interviewed backstage. He says that Drew McIntyre's been needling him for months and he's sick of it. So next week they're going to fight about it. So we find out that next week we get Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins, which should be a goodie. And he says, I owe him one from WrestleMania and next week's going to be fun. And then Rollins runs into Sami Zayn, Drew. Sami says, hey man, if you want to talk, I'm right here. And Seth says, yeah, it was a rough week. Before saying it was a great week, but it was a great week for you, right? Looking at Sami. Sami looks confused, and Rollins says his boy Roman Reigns is tribal chief again. And he goes, and what's next? Are you going to go help him win the Royal Rumble? And then after that, you're going to help him win the world title back? He goes, you're going to keep on helping Roman Reigns, or you're going to start helping yourself? And Seth walks away. And Sami is obviously there looking puzzled, like thinking about what he said, but you can tell he's kind of whatever. It was a small little segment, and Sami really didn't talk. It was all a Seth thing. But I thought this was really good. And intriguing. And again, Seth not lying, like being very truthful.
And you know, right. But then, so now this is why I want to talk for a couple minutes about this, because this is directly related to something that happened on SmackDown.
Yes.
Which I thought was very telling for the immediate future of the bloodline stuff. So, as we know, of course, Rock came out last week and totally torched all of his Cody Rhodes storyline. And it seems that isn't happening, maybe ever, but at least not at this year's WrestleMania like everybody thought originally. So,
well, they said, they did what they did last week, and then somebody came out somewhere and said that was meant to squash the beef completely with The Rock and Cody. Like that was them saying that this is over with. Like we're not. And I guess they filmed something during the premiere of Moana 2 as well. That is supposed to, I don't know if we're ever going to see that, but they did that. And then they did what they did on Raw and the toasting afterwards that they showed on social media. That was supposed to like literally like The Rock doesn't want to fight Cody Rhodes anymore. Right. Like squash the beef forever, which I don't feel great about, but whatever.
Yeah, I'm not really that much of a fan of it either, but it is what it is. So, I don't make the rules. I'm not in control of anything here.
Yeah.
Um, so this segment that had the one that we just talked about with Seth and Sammy, it made me go like, oh, this is really Seth's "tell me when I'm telling lies" era. Because, sorry, um, I think what's gonna happen now, based off of the segment on SmackDown with Roman Reigns,
Mm-hmm.
is that there's gonna be this like trail of realization from OG Bloodline that they're gonna realize that helping Roman to the point of him getting his Rule of Follow back was a very bad idea.
You might not be wrong.
So SmackDown opened, so I'm gonna bounce around a little bit because we also have to leave in like 40 minutes.
Yeah, like 30, 45 minutes or
Um,
so. So we're okay. We got a little bit of time.
So Roman Reigns comes out on SmackDown,
Mm-hmm.
and now I can tell you I'm fully under the impression, as I kind of always have been, and we've referenced it multiple times since he's come back, this guy's still a heel.
Yeah, he has not changed who he has been at all. Still.
Yeah. Dude
that has
wins
been
the
my
Rule of
main
Follow
complaint.
back,
Yeah.
and immediately it's like, oh, hey, Cody Rhodes. Hey,
I want the title.
I want that title back. Like,
Well, first of
not
all,
even a breath. It's just,
can we just
he wins it on Friday. He wins it on Monday, and on Friday, he's already calling his shot for Cody.
But here's my thing. It's not even him. He sent Paul Heyman out there to do it. Not him. He was nowhere to be found on Friday.
Oh, well, yeah, right. It wasn't Roman.
It was Paul Heyman out there declaring him for the Royal Rumble and then calling Cody out and saying Roman wants that title back, by the way.
Right.
Not even Roman himself.
It's everyone else has to do his bidding.
Correct.
Heyman has to say it. Jimmy has to say it. Jay has to say it. Sammy has to say it. They have to go to other shows and get other people. No, bitch.
Yeah.
You say it.
Yeah.
He
doesn't have to. Everybody's been running to his side.
It's insane.
Helping him anyway.
So Seth,
why would he change who he is if everybody's not making him change who he is?
Seth, 100% in the right, goes up to Sammy and is like, hey, why don't you just help him win the world title?
Yeah.
You've already helped him with every other thing. What's stopping you? It made me go, okay, so what probably is going to end up happening, Rock is not wrestling at WrestleMania.
That's the vibe I'm getting.
Figured that out.
Yes.
Aside from the reports that have come out. And I think Roman's going back to being a heel.
Yeah, because I think he's going to fight Punk. I think he's fighting Punk at Mania, and Punk's the good guy.
I don't know if it's going to be that yet.
I really don't know if it's not The Rock. I really don't know where else they could go with it. I mean, I wouldn't be against Roman and Seth one-on-one. I think the Kevin Owens stunner. I think the Kevin Owens. Right, Roman and Seth one-on-one would be something I would definitely be interested in. I thought KO stunning Roman in that match last week. I thought maybe that can lead to something. You could always go back to Roman and KO again. But the rumor is Punk and Roman, and I assume it would have to do with the favor with Heyman, and it would have to do something along those lines. Would be my guess.
Yeah. I had an idea. I'm trying to remember what it was, but I don't remember.
But that would be my assumption. That would be my assumption of the thing, is that's where things would go.
Yeah.
If they're going to Punk and Roman.
I feel like what could happen is thought I had said it to somebody, but I can't find it now. Anyway, I feel like Roman they're going to do like a pivot again because there's no Rock.
Yeah.
So having to just got to go back to what works. And I think, this whole bloodline. Now we don't know. Solo said he was going to acknowledge Roman if Roman won, and Solo's going to be on SmackDown this Friday. So we'll see what happens there. But I don't know why Roman has any other trajectory other than just being a full-fledged heel again.
Yeah.
I think the Ulafala is, I'm not saying that we go into some magical thing with it, but it's just that, like, holding the Ulafala and wearing the Ulafala and it being his, and he is the tribal chief again, that is a heel character. That is not a babyface character.
Yeah. The Ulafala has always represented a heel. He had it, and then it went to Solo, and Solo became this. The Ulafala represents power, and in a lot of places, and in a lot of things in real life and in fake wrestling life, power is evil. And I think the Ulafala is the symbol of what that is. Like, yeah, it's family heritage. It means a lot more to them and the Samoan family than it does the regular person. But the way that necklace has been portrayed on WWE television for 4 years is, if you have that, you are the king. And if you are the king, you're the king heel. Like, there's no way else you can look at that other than, what, was he magically going to get the necklace and he's like this all supreme good guy now? No. He's going to go back to the same way that he was before, which was, oh, I have this. Falafel, with Drew McIntyre making fun of.
Oh, Drew called it falafel.
The
That's
falafel.
Right. Yeah.
He's got the little falafel over there, which was funny. I wouldn't be opposed to Drew and Roman if they did that. That'd be cool. That'd be all right with me. If you want to do Roman and Drew again at Mania, I'd be cool with that. Roman and Seth.
I just remembered what my idea was.
Roman and KO, I'd be in on.
But I'm gonna reveal it when we get to the segment.
So, yeah. All right. So after that, we got a good segment with Gunther. Gunther makes his way to the ring.
He gets in the segment that I was going to drop that info on.
It's the next thing. It's the next thing that happened. So Gunther's in the ring looking fantastic, looking like $1 million in that suit, the championship. He's looking great. Good to see him on the show, considering on the debut last week, you didn't have your world champion on the show. The vignette was awesome. Don't get me wrong, but what the hell? Anyway, so Gunther gets out there. He says, following the debut of Raw with great interest, he watched last week and he was very impressed and blah, 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 blah. He goes, everyone is fighting over some personal drama. He's like, but the only prize that's worth fighting for is my heavyweight championship. And then all of a sudden, we hear main event Jey Uso's music. Jey comes down to the ring. He says, hey, Gunther, if you need somebody to fight for the world title, I'm your guy. I'm right here. He goes, Drew's behind me. Bloodline's behind me. He goes, now Saturday night's main event, you and me, buddy. You and me. Gunther says, I've beaten you twice, and you're capable of a whole lot less than me. He goes, I'll give you that you're funny and entertaining. He goes, but when the bell rings, I expose you as a really talented tag team wrestler and nothing more. Oh, good stuff. He goes, you are just not on my level. He goes, to you, main event is just a nickname. But he goes, but to the ring general, the main event is the place I belong, he says. Another great line. He goes, so if you want Saturday night's main event, you want a challenge, then that's all right. That's up to you. But really, it's your choice because you're just going to get exposed again. So then Gunther leaves. And then Jey Uso, I very much enjoyed this whole thing. But Jey Uso then, he goes, hey, wait, before you leave. And the crowd's like being loud. And Jey Uso literally tells the crowd, he's like, yo, he's like, let me talk. And the crowd listen. When you are so over that you can tell the crowd to shush and they fucking listen to you,
yeah,
you're fucking over, man.
yeah.
You're over, man. Jey Uso told the crowd to literally pipe down twice in that set, and they did. They got quiet so he could talk. He says, "You don't respect me." He goes, "Everything I said was true." He says, "People, think that I'm not supposed to be in this spot, that I'm not supposed to sell all this merchandise, that I'm just a tag team guy." He's like, "But every morning I wake up, I bet on myself, and I've earned that respect." And he goes, "And Gunther, you're going to respect me at Saturday night's main event when I beat your ass for that world title." And he threw the mic down, and the crowd was going fucking nuts. It was good. It was good. Man, I'm going to tell you, I never would, and I know it's been a while, I never would have expected Jey Uso to be this popular. Never in a million years. And he's earned it. Like, good for him, man. He deserves it.
Absolutely.
He is a future world champion to me. There's no debate in my mind. Not this time around. I think Gunther wins. Like, I think not now. Maybe. I don't know, but I think Gunther wins. I think Gunther's holding it till Mania.
Well, let me
Or are you going to drop a bomb right now, and you think you're going to pick? Are you picking Jey Uso to win on Saturday night?
I am dropping a bomb right now, right here on Firmly WWE. That leads into the thing that I was just talking about. I think Jey Uso is winning at Saturday night's main event.
All right. I mean, I totally wouldn't be against it.
So this is why.
Yeah.
Let me tell you why. I think because we're not seeing Roman again until the Rumble, pretty much. Or I think he said January 27th.
No, yeah, he's gonna.
He's the Raw before
the Rumble go home show. They're gonna do some WWE 2K25 stuff with that, I believe, as well. I think they're gonna officially announce him as the cover guy, and they're gonna do a bunch of stuff. Yeah.
So I think what's gonna end up happening here is a repeat of 2020. If you remember, in 2020, Roman came back, won the title, was revealed with Paul Heyman and show up and win and acknowledge, all the original stuff. And Jey Uso comes back and is dapping him up. And they're like, "Yeah, we're great. We're all good, blah, blah, blah." And then we all know what happened from there.
Yeah, well, I mean, Jey Uso was really the first person, the catalyst that turned, Roman turned heel against Jey. Like, Jey was the one where Roman, because he came back and he did all that stuff, and he was very much he looks like he's going to be a bad guy, but he's not all the way there yet. And Roman got all
those looks into the camera when he was hugging, and like, yeah, this guy doesn't know what the hell's coming to him.
Exactly. And it was Jey and the story that they played with Roman and Jey in 2020 into the early 2021 that really solidified Roman as the main bad guy. Like, holy shit, this guy's gaslighting and fucking being terrible. And that was really, Jey was the catalyst to turn Roman fully heel. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I fully believe and think that the best thing for them to do, Jey Uso wins the title at Saturday night's main event. Now, Paul Heyman came out on SmackDown and said, "Oh, Cody.
Yep.
He's coming for you, Cody." But that's what they did last year. And then they pivoted. So I have a feeling that Jey Uso's win is going to lead to a pivot once again.
Maybe.
And Roman's going to be doing whatever announcement they make, whether he's on the cover or whatever. Jey Uso comes out to congratulate him, and he's all smiles, and he's got the title, and Roman's just standing there looking at him, and he gives him a hug, and it's a very reminiscent to 2020. It's like, this guy has no idea what the hell's coming.
Yeah, sort of like how The Rock hugged Roman last week.
Because yeah, this story has been told this way pretty much the entire time of Roman's babyface return
Mhm.
since SummerSlam last year, where anytime Jay is involved in something, Roman immediately wants nothing to do with it. He's like, no, he was doing the no yeet, and he was doing the, like, all right, like it was a little broing him pretty much
Mhm.
the whole time. And that one moment, it was on the SmackDown that was at, I think, here in Brooklyn, when Jimmy and Roman come down so separately from Jay. I think, yeah, this was before Crown Jewel. And Jay's music hits, and the crowd just erupts, and Roman's just standing there like, what the hell?
Yeah.
This is about me. What the hell he's always had that in his head. This whole main event Jey Uso thing has always gotten under Roman's skin.
Mhm.
So Roman Reigns just winning the Ulafala back, and then Jey winning the World Heavyweight Championship, and that overshadowing, in a sense, in his mind at least,
Mhm.
his Ulafala win.
Yeah.
I think Roman Reigns wins the Royal Rumble, and I think he challenges Jey at WrestleMania.
Could. I don't know. I am
And
not.
I think so. So then I think that in the workaround to, oh well, Roman said he was going to face Cody. I think at the Elimination Chamber, John Cena wins the Elimination Chamber, and then John Cena faces Cody at WrestleMania. That's what I think.
Well, and that's the rumor. The rumor is that it will be Cena and Cody, which I hate. But anyway, I digress. We'll see. We'll see. We'll have time to talk about it. I am not picking Jay to beat Gunther. I agree with David. Gunther is too good, and he should smash Jay. I love Jey Uso. He's super over, but Gunther was 100% right. There are levels to this, and Jay is nowhere near the level of Gunther. Just nowhere near it. Popularity-wise, I'll give it to you, but in the ring, wrestling, not even close. Not even close. You're talking a one of one versus a one of many. That's what you're talking there. So, all right. But I don't know. I don't want to get too much into it because we'll have shows with longer time before we can get into it. But this is no offense to Jay because I know he's over, but I almost feel like that would be not a big enough match for Roman at WrestleMania. I think for Roman, they want bigger than Jay. No offense to Jay. But I think for Roman at WrestleMania, they want bigger. They want bigger. CM Punk, bigger. Rock, obviously bigger. Cody, bigger. I think they would want a little bit. Now the story would be great, and I would be for it. But I think that, especially this year's Mania, they want superstar power. I think they probably want something a smidge bigger than Jay for Roman. But obviously, there were some other things that happened on Raw. But the other big thing that happened is we had the finals to crown the first ever WWE Women's Intercontinental Champion. It was Dakota Kai versus Lyra Valkyria, and these two had themselves a pretty damn good match, Drew. That suplex spot. I know.
Close.
I know. I was pulling.
Predicting literally everything correctly for the past 4 months.
Yeah.
Close.
Yeah. I almost went perfect in every major wrestling tournament there was in the last calendar year. I almost went perfect. But I was rooting for Dakota, but it was strictly because I had picked Dakota to win. I like both these girls. I thought they could have done no wrong with either one of them winning. It was a great match. That suplex spot when Lyra Valkyria suplexed Dakota off the apron to the floor, gnarly. That was a gnarly spot. Tremendous stuff. Then they went back and forth. That moment that Sandy's talking about where Dakota hit her finisher and Lyra just slowly rolled out of the ring.
Yeah. I pretty much figured it out then, Jim.
Yeah. Great spot. And then later on, she went for the GTK again. Lyra blocked it. She hit a Liger bomb. a close 2. They went back and forth. And then Lyra Valkyria eventually hit the Nightwing for the 1-2-3. And she is your first ever, your inaugural WWE Women's Intercontinental Champion, Lyra Valkyria. Then she was presented with the belt and Adam Pearce. They raised her hand. And then I thought her and Dakota Kai had a really good moment where they hugged each other in the ring and they raised each other's hands out of respect. No heel turn or anything like that. I thought this was a really good match. I thought, with both these tournaments, the US one and this one, I thought they nailed them both. I thought they had the right finals matchups in both of them. I had no problem. I was pulling for Dakota a little bit, but I had Lyra's terrific. I thought both these tournaments, they knocked it out of the park. I thought this was a great final. And I thought Lyra is going to be a good first champion for the IC belt. I thought it was very good.
Yeah, agreed.
I thought it was very good. And I think there's a chance that Becky Lynch comes back and challenges Lyra Valkyria for the IC title. I just think. I think Becky, at this point, I would assume that Becky comes back in the Rumble. At this point, if she wasn't gonna debut on the Netflix on Raw, I assume they save it for the Rumble. But I don't think Becky's gonna win the Rumble. And Becky already put her over in NXT and lost the NXT Championship to Lyra. I wouldn't be shocked if Becky is not in any world title plans on either brand at Mania. I wouldn't be shocked if Becky Lynch went after Lyra. There's a history there.
Dan, that's not true. Roman Reigns won last week, and he's not.
Well, technically, though, he is. Technically. Is that true, though? Every match so far has been won by... There have been no heels that have won a match?
Well, it was all baby faces last week. I know that.
Yeah, but then, we had... All right, so all the matches this week, we had Penta win, babyface. We had Sheamus, babyface. We had both Dakota and Lyra were baby faces.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sami Zayn then beat them. Drew, I've been saying forever that I wanted a Blue Thunder Bomb to win a match. And last night on Raw, Sami Zayn, they did it in reverse order. He hit the hula hoop kick first, and then he hit the Blue Thunder Bomb on The Miz, and he actually got a pinfall victory with the Blue Thunder Bomb. I couldn't believe it. I clapped out loud. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, my God. I think that's the first time it's ever won a match for Sami Zayn. Ever.
Well, probably not ever, but
in WWE. Yeah, a long time. Loved it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So Sami Zayn won. And then in the main event, Damian Priest won. Yeah, so it was all baby faces. Then the week before, Rhea Ripley beat Liv Morgan. Yeah. CM Punk beat Seth. Jey Uso beat Drew. And Roman beat... Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, some heels need to win soon then. Son of a B. But yeah, so I thought, Sami Zayn did beat The Miz. I continue to like what they're doing with Karrion Kross. We did find out that the Wyatt Six is going to SmackDown. They're on SmackDown.
Yeah.
We found that out last night. Karrion Kross announced that. Yeah.
But
so the Wyatt Six are moving to SmackDown. So we found out that
there were like two entrances last week that it would have been insane in that building, and that was Wyatt Six and Penta. I was like, to not even have Penta's debut be on that show, just to see that. I mean, the building's tech was just unreal.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to this building, huge downgrade to last week.
The show wasn't though. The show was much better this week.
Downgrade. The show was an upgrade. The building was a downgrade.
Yeah.
But I mean, but also to what you were saying, Karrion Kross, I'm
digging what they're doing with him, man.
I'm digging it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm digging what they're doing with him.
SmackDown also that's digging in a similar vein to that. We're going to touch on SmackDown a little bit.
Oh, you're talking about the tag team stuff?
Yes.
I love that. How about my boys Pretty Deadly starting to get used a little bit? Thank you. They're good. I don't give a shit. I'm still waiting for Drew to come on here as they continue to be used more and eventually go, hey, JP, I'm almost used my shoot name. Hey, JPJ, you were right about Pretty Deadly. They are very good. But yes, I do like what they're doing with the tag team division over on SmackDown. There's like 4 or 5 teams. They all have like weird relationships with each other, and they're all kind of Pretty Deadly helped DIY last week, and then DIY didn't help Pretty Deadly on SmackDown. And then afterwards, they were like, hey, you scratch our back, we scratch, where the hell were you? And Gargano's playing kind of the snarky, like, shithead, like, oh, no.
They're doing good cop, bad cop.
Yes. Ciampa's the dick.
And Ciampa.
Yeah.
Ciampa's just like, you, don't you, you know, like he's getting in their face, and he's like, they making them like, oh, God. And then Johnny's like, no, everything's great, Kip.
Everything's good.
Everything's great, Kip. Even though his name is Kip.
And again, he goes, it's Kit. He goes, that's what I said, Kit. What do you think? I know your name. We're friends. I know your name. Gargano's being this little shithead. It is tremendous.
I loved that segment. I loved it. So
yeah.
So,
and it's good because then you have the street profits involved in this too that weren't on TV last week. They're involved. You got Motor City, DIY. You got Pretty Dead. Like, this whole little thing they're doing is really, really good over there.
But the last major thing that we need to talk about from Raw is the Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, that was the thing I was getting to next. Yeah, that was the thing I was getting to next. David, I have said it. I'm not going to ever complain about watching wrestling. I'm not ever going to complain about watching more wrestling. 3 hours is way too long for a TV show. SmackDown, the last 2 episodes being at 3 hours, they've been all right to good episodes of SmackDown, but they would have been a lot better if they were 2 hours. That is too much wrestling for a weekly television show. It should never be more than 2 hours. And on a Friday night, asking your fans to watch 3 hours of wrestling is too much. With that being said, I'm going to sit there every Friday and watch it because that's what I do, because I like wrestling. Actually, I love wrestling. That's why I'm here. But 3 hours is way too long. I am not happy at all that SmackDown is 3 hours. I cannot wait till June when it goes back to the proper 2 hours.
I am going to happily complain about the amount of wrestling that I have to watch.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch all the wrestling.
Yeah. I talk wrestling on the internet, so I am not going to be a person that says I don't like watching wrestling when I talk about wrestling. That is not who I am. I feel I
don't hate watching wrestling. I just hate watching too much wrestling.
Well, I mean, you could stop watching AEW soon because it's not going to fucking matter if they keep on doing what they're doing. We'll talk about it on Thursday. But anyway, Rhea Ripley makes her way to the ring. She gets on the mic. She does her thing where she says, "Mommy is back on top." She goes, "I know I might sound like a broken record, but I am Rhea Bloody Ripley, and I am one of the most dominant women in WWE." And now
anybody talking, any promo in WWE sounds like a broken record because all they do.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh my god, look, they know they lean right into it. And then out of nowhere, we see Nia Jax wearing the cheetah print, all cheetah print. That was a nice little getup she had on last night. She says she was just talking to Adam Pearce about the transfer window. She decided to come down here and tell everyone that she's winning the Royal Rumble and taking whatever. It was the transfer portal, Sandy. So they can kind of go on any show if they're using the transfer portal. Yeah, Bloody is basically using the F word in Europe. Yeah, that is a thing. So she says she's going to take whatever title she wants. She goes, Tiffany Stratton might think that she's on the Tiffy top. She goes, Rhea Mommy might be on top. She goes, I don't even know why Bailey's at ringside right now. And Bailey's there, and she's like, I'm from here. Like the Bailey yells, I live here. That's why I'm here. So then Nia goes, oh, okay. Oh, you're from here. So congratulations. You're from a crappy town. Loved it. Then Bailey jumps the barricade. And Bailey gets in the ring, and she goes, before she gets in the ring, though, she goes, Rhea, sorry, but can I come in here and deal with this? And Rhea's like, yeah. And Bailey's like, all right. She goes, I know it's on my show, but can I come in? So Bailey gets down there, and Bailey's not messing around. She gets right in Nia Jax's face. She calls her a big, dumb idiot. She says, you got something to say it in my face. Let's go, you big, dumb idiot. Which, for something about such a simple insult like big dumb idiot, it's fucking hysterical to me.
And coming from Bailey is just
like when Jericho had that shtick years ago where he would just be like, you idiot. It was just like it's one of the least strong insults ever.
The way that
but it's just hysterical. Yeah. And then Nia shoves her down. She shoves Rhea. Rhea headbutts her. Her and Bayley kind of team up. They start taking Nia Jax out. And that's how the thing. And did you notice, though, at the end of this, Drew, Rhea and Bayley kind of go in for like a handshake and kind of an awkward hug. But the whole time, Bayley was staring at that title.
Mm-hmm.
The whole time.
I think Bayley's moving to Raw.
100%. She was talking to Pierce last week in the back on the debut.
Mm-hmm.
Bayley could probably use a nice change of scenery. Bayley and Rhea Ripley is a feud and a match that we really haven't seen for Rhea, for either of them.
Yeah.
But we really haven't seen Rhea and Bayley. So I would not mind Bayley going over. Now, we know Bayley's fighting for the SmackDown title tomorrow on Friday. She won the 4-way last week, which was an excellent 4-way on SmackDown last week. She won that 4-way with Bianca, her, Nia Jax, and Naomi. Tremendous match that was. She won that, so she's fighting Tiffany for the title this Thursday. But I think Bayley moving over to Raw, there's some good matchups I would like to see Bayley have over on Raw. I would like to see Bayley and Liv. I'd like to see Bayley and Rhea. I'd like to see Bayley and Lyra, Dakota. There's Bayley and Io again, run it back. Yeah. You know, there's some good stuff over on Raw for Bayley, and Bayley's been on SmackDown for a long time. So I think,
they could even perform Damage Control.
They could, really. They could. But I liked it because, the whole time they were being friendly. But Bayley was staring at that title. She was staring at that, side-eyeing that title, much like Randy Orton did with Cody all those times. It was very similar. Very similar. I liked it a lot. And I'm very much looking forward to a potential Bayley and Rhea thing. I think that's a fun feud for whenever they get to it. But I thought that was a really, really good thing again. And then really the only thing we didn't touch on in depth, the main event match last night was a street fight, Damian Priest and Finn Balor. I would think that this is actually it. I feel like it has to be now. This is the third time that these guys have fought now.
I don't think it's over until Finn wins, honestly.
So we talking about how Bayley needs to go to Raw. I think Damian Priest needs to go to SmackDown. I think Damian Priest needs to go to SmackDown to get away from
I actually think the Judgment Day should go to SmackDown.
I actually think the Judgment Day should break up. Because it's clearly Finn, JD, and Carlito and Dom, even though I thought that was a good thing too, the backstage segment they had where Dom had the flowers for Liv. And Liv was very much doing everything's fine. No, you don't have to worry. I'm not mad at you. Everything's fine. And Dom is an idiot and doesn't know better because he's an idiot. And you can see Finn in the background looking, just going like, she's clearly angry at you. She's clearly angry at you. And then she leaves and Dom goes, she's not even mad. And Finn's just like, brother, you have a lot to learn. You have a lot to learn, you moron. That was very good. That was very good. I like that a lot. So that was fun. All in all, obviously, we didn't go as in depth as we normally do. Yep. Listen, I talked about it last night. In the women's division alone, in the span of the next couple months, you're talking about potentially getting 4 former champions back in Becky Lynch, Charlotte, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka. Those 4 women have been out for a long time. And they are in, I don't know much about Asuka, and she's the one I know the least about, but it seems to me the other 3 are ready to go. They're ready to go, ready to come back. So you're talking about your women's division getting 4 multi-time former champions back on your
Rumble too. I imagine.
Yeah, like that, and then not even including all the call-ups that we're gonna get and stuff, but like that is 4 Hall of Famers.
They're gonna have a stacked women's Rumble this year.
Yeah. That is 4 Hall of Famers they're getting back.
You could get Charlotte, Becky, and Alexa returning in that Royal Rumble. Plus, like what Sandy said, Roxanne Perez, you could get Cora Jade, and all the current women that are there now. I mean, that's going to be a stacked women's Rumble. I'm really 100%. Excited for that.
Yep.
But now one other woman I want to talk about is Tiffy, because
we got to make this like 5 minutes max.
Yeah, so
if that's cool.
Tiffany Stratton, I just want to say I'm a little confused from last SmackDown because I really thought that they were going to use this cash-in to make her a babyface, but
Yeah,
the
no.
way that she was talking in that promo, it almost felt like heel
she was a
Tiffany
heel.
Stratton coming back.
No, I didn't feel like it. That was heel. That was listen.
I'm the champion. I'm better than all
character.
your faves.
Yeah.
And she was being all arrogant and shit. And I'm like, well, wait, but why are we doing
she's fighting Bayley now, so that makes sense. Bayley's not gonna. They're not gonna do babyface.
Well, yeah, but I thought that it was gonna be, her as a babyface.
I thought so too, and we still might get there, maybe. But I don't know about that.
When the company capitalizes off of a major, like, cheering and happy moment with a crowd by keeping or changing somebody heel. It just doesn't really make sense to me.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, well, they didn't. I mean, my thing is Tiffany is still going to get the pops. They could probably change her to babyface anytime they want to. But if Bayley's going to be the next challenger, I don't think that would make, I think Tiffany's going to be the babyface whenever Nia gets back to her. Like Tiffany's going to be the babyface there. Then you can just kind of keep her that way.
I guess
from there on out.
You know what I mean? Changeable that way.
Yeah. Because like, honestly, even in the time that she cashed in, she hit Naomi with the briefcase and was a heel. Like, it's not like she just ran out there and was a babyface. Like she ran out there and then she helped Nia win the belt back by hitting Naomi with the briefcase.
Well,
before she cashed in, Bianca hit the KOD and she grabbed Bianca and threw her over the announce table. So like she didn't just go, hey, thanks, I'm cashing in. She like yanked Bianca out of the ring, threw her over the table, so she was still kind of.
She didn't really cash in as a babyface either.
You know what I mean? It was kind of in the middle,
I forgot about that.
Joe, I'm right with you, dude. I would very much like that, but I still feel like they're kind of diving into that. One thing I did want to touch base on before we leave.
I think you're gonna, because I wanted to talk about this too, and I think maybe.
Did you see Corey Graves' tweet?
Yep, that's exactly what it was.
Now we only have a few minutes because I unfortunately have to get out of here early. Johnny, I see your comment popping in for a little bit. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. We will see you on Thursday, my dude. All right. So last night after Raw, Corey Graves tweeted this. This is a quote. He goes, "Imagine chasing your dream, then being told," and told is in all caps. And then there's a parentheses where it says not deciding. So then being told, not deciding, that you're no longer physically able to pursue your dream. Then you dedicate your life to something, in quotations, dream adjacent, and being pretty fucking awesome at it. And then when it's time to enjoy the fruits of your labor, being told you're not famous enough for your own job. Just in case you've wondered where I've been. That was the tweet. Now, 2 hours ago this morning, though, Corey Graves tweeted, "I've got a lot to say. Don't miss NXT tonight on the CW."
Oh, I did not see that.
Which makes me think that this is a work. That makes me now think that this was a work.
Oh, well, yeah. I thought it was a work.
Oh,
that first tweet was a work.
I did not at all. Because last
what made me think it was a work was the exact wording. Was that like the way that he worded that tweet made me think, oh shit, this guy's coming back in the ring.
Well, wasn't there a rumor like within the last year or so that he had been cleared or getting close to cleared?
I remember there being like rumors or reports that he was training for an in return.
Okay. So if this were because last week, obviously I do the NXT watch-alongs. Last week, he was at the table with Vic and Booker T, and he was visibly pissed off. Like you could tell right away that he was not thrilled about being in NXT. But now, if they're playing this as a way to get him back to in the ring, okay, that makes sense to me. But last week to start that show, he was like, at one point, Vic had to pat him on the back Like in that yes, if you go back and you watch the beginning of that show, when the three of them are at the table, you can see it on Corey Graves' face immediately. He is pissed to be there.
Oh shit, I might have to watch NXT tonight.
And me and Ophelia were talking about it, and I was like, do you think that is a work, or do you think that he's literally angry because he's not on the main roster commentary, and like he got booted to NXT? Because I thought it was real. I was like, he looks like he's pissed. And Vic was doing his entrance and he welcomed Corey, and literally Vic Joseph like patted Corey on the back because Corey looked so angry. He was commentary like the whole, like he was fine on commentary the whole night. He was doing his normal Corey Graves stuff. Like he wasn't like doing anything out of character that way, but he looked pissed. But then he does the tweet last night. Then he does the tweet today. That makes me think that this is going to lead to an in-ring return for him. Maybe it's down in NXT, which I think would be good. Do it down in NXT, make sure he's good to go, and then whatever. But yeah, I did want to address that for a few minutes because I saw that tweet last night and I was like, oh shit.
Listen, I'm not a fan of Corey Graves on commentary. I never have been. But and
definitely been worse.
Say that I'm not saying that his commentary is bad.
There's definitely been worse.
I don't like his style. It's too like old school for me. I'm not into the like heel commentator.
No.
Praising every single thing that the heel people do.
And
as soon as they're a babyface and switch heel, I love that guy. You know, like
you don't like that?
No, I don't at all.
Oh man, I think commentary is arguably worse than ever because there's not enough of that. Jerry the King Lawler, he was around for like a decade too long. But Jerry the King Lawler is one of the all-time greats because that's who he was. Bobby the Brain Heenan is one of the all-time greats because that was the character. Heyman, when he was at the table, that was the JB. Like, I feel like that is needed. That is needed at the table.
I'm not a fan of it, but nothing against Corey Graves himself. It's just not. Now, Corey Graves, a wrestler, I've never seen because.
Oh, you didn't watch NXT back then?
No, I did not.
All right. He was pretty good.
So I am interested in that. So and the way that tweet was worded, I was like, oh, this is a work. This feels very much like, because he said, not that he decided that he wanted to.
It was concussion. It was concussion based. Yeah, it was concussion based. So
I was like, oh, okay. I might have to watch NXT tonight.
I mean, you know how I feel about that. You should be anyway. It's the most consistently good show that they offer. But yeah, we had 2 new world champions last week in that. It's a new era of NXT. Julia Obafemi. Now we got Corey Graves potentially getting in the ring. Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, he's a former NXT tag team champion with Pac, Corey Graves. Or Neville at the time. But they were NXT tag champions. No, we won't be doing that whether Drew starts watching it regularly, and I do not. I love watching all the wrestling. I'm not going to complain about watching wrestling, unlike my lovely co-host over here. But I don't have all the time in the world to be doing more shows than I currently do. So I don't know if we'd get a Firmly NXT, but I would like Drew to start watching it more regularly. It is quite good. It is truly probably the last calendar year. It is probably the most consistent weekly television show that WWE has to offer. I would say consistent. No, just saying. But Drew openly just said that. Yeah, Drew already just said that he doesn't even like wrestling. So, it is what it is.
Well,
all right.
Oh, you're going to find that out on Thursday. That's for sure.
Oh, well, we have a lot of reasons to not like what's going on over there because we quit wasting my fucking time. Anyway, we'll talk about that on Thursday. Drew, we got to get out of here. Like we said a little bit early, I got some adult things and appointments that I need to take care of. So apologize once again for the shorter episode today. But we'll be back on Thursday at 10 a.m. normal time for some Firmly AEW. And I think we'll probably need normal time on Thursday because I got a feeling Drew and I might be ranting a little bit on Thursday. We'll see how tomorrow night goes. But I think we might be ranting a little bit on Thursday. But Drew, let the people know where they can find you so we can get out of here.
You can find me at the Drew Nicholas on Twitter and Blue Sky, collecting super chats and humper chats for Fightful's AEW Collision push-up, which let me tell you, I think Luis might be filling in for me on Saturday.
My God, huh?
And Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast. And 2 quick notes. You will see us sponsoring an award on the Fightful Awards probably this Sunday. I think
Is
they
that
said
the official date?
They
I think
have
they
it
said it
planned
was
for
this
this Sunday so far. And Sandy's having dinner right now. Jesus Christ, it's barely lunchtime.
Well, I mean, it's like, yeah, what is it, like 5:15 or 6:15 over there? Yeah.
And we do have on Thursday, we will talk more, we'll get more in depth, but the next couple of weeks of shows are going to be crappy for everybody, and we apologize because I'm not going to be at a Firmly AEW. JPJ is not going to be at a Firmly AEW, and next week's WWE show will be recorded after Raw because by the time the show would normally start, I'll have already been at work for 2 hours. So, yeah, so real life shit unfortunately getting in the way. But that's what you can do. That's where you can find me. Hit it, pal.
JPJ Loves Gaming, all social media platforms, including Twitch and YouTube. Thursday morning with this guy right here, 10 a.m. We'll be talking some AEW. And then Thursday night, 8 p.m., we got a big one this week. We got Big Ben Ortmans joining us on Beards this week. Should be a lot of fun. We're also working on getting a giant guest, hopefully at some point in the future. Can't put a date on it, but like a big time guest we're kind of working on a little bit to see if that could happen. But this Thursday, we got our man, the big hog swinging card member, Big Ben Ortman. We just, we broke some news. You were on the show, but we broke some news last week on Beards that Big Ben Ortmans is coming to LPW. And he's challenging MRB Michael Richard Blaze for the LPW Challenge Championship at the end of the month. And Big Ben is popping on Beards this Thursday to talk about it. So I'm very excited about that. Plus, yeah, so follow me, JPJ Loves Gaming. I'll see you on the double dip on Thursday morning with this guy, Thursday night with Pluggo. Until then, though, we got to get out of here for the day. We love Big Ben too, Inferno. He's great. I cannot wait to chat it up with him on Thursday. It should be a fun time. But for Drew, for all of us here at Love Wrestling, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all the likes. Thank you for all the comments. We appreciate you all. And Drew and I will see you on Thursday. And until then, you know the drill. Peace out.